Hello, my friend. Welcome to your sleep story. My name is Stephen Dalton. I'm an Irish storyteller, and it's my great privilege to be the voice that you listen to as you go to sleep tonight. In tonight's story, we will follow the story of a young man on a great adventure who travels over many years from ancient China to the Mediterranean, and all on foot. He will experience amazing, life-affirming moments. He will see the world for the first time beyond the walls of his town, and his life will be changed forever. I hope you like the story. And just one small thing. I'd like to thank those of you who support my work on Patreon. And if you'd like to become a patron, you can find the link below this video. Okay, let's do the relaxation session now, which will take a few minutes before tonight's sleep story. I'm going to count down from 10 to 1, and as I do, allow yourself to let go more and more. 10. Feel the support of the bed beneath you, or the floor, and beneath that, the earth, the support of the earth, our home, our constant support. And as you feel that support, allow a gentle easing to take place, a gentle letting go. Really feel that you are supported in this moment. Let go a little more. 9. Feel into your body now. Notice where you are still holding. Maybe in your feet. Maybe in your hands. Maybe in your belly. Maybe in your face. And again, just allowing everything to let go now. There's no reason to hold on. Your body has worked hard for you today. It's time to allow it to have the rest that it deserves. 8. You are safe. Allow my voice to be an anchor of safety tonight, to be a friend that will only ever take you to safe places. Allow that fact to enable you to let go a little more now. 7. The day is done. Whatever has been, has been. Whatever will be, will be. So whatever thoughts might be arriving tonight, perhaps about the past, perhaps about the future, don't fight them, but don't follow them either. They are a symptom of being a human, so allow them to arrive. See them for what they are, and then simply watch them float away, like leaves on a moonlit river, or clouds passing by through a starlit sky. Six. Peace lives within you. It is always there. It is always waiting to be seen, to be felt. So tonight, see if you can find that peace. That peace that you so richly deserve. Five. You deserve rest. We all do. This is your time. Your time to let go. Your time to enter into another world. A world of sleep. A world of peace. You deserve this moment. Enjoy this moment. Enjoy the fact that you can listen to my voice as you move closer and closer towards sleep. 4. Perhaps allow yourself to feel a little gratitude now. Gratitude for the ability to go to sleep tonight. Gratitude for the simple things. The shelter you have. Your mind and body. The ones you love or have loved, and the ones that love you or have loved you. 3. Begin to engage with your imagination now. Begin to see ancient China. A world from long ago, a world far from all that you know. Begin to hear the sounds, to smell the scents in the air. Begin to see the architecture, and begin to see a young man by the name of Li Wei. 2. Checking in with your body one more time now. Making sure you're not holding on anywhere. Finding the release. 1. Completely letting go now. As I tell you, tonight's sleep story. In the year 1275, the ancient city of Xi'an in China served as the eastern terminus of the Silk Road. This legendary trade route stretched across continents, connecting the east with the distant west, winding through vast deserts, over towering mountain ranges, and into vibrant cities. And within the protective embrace of Xi'an's towering city walls, a young scholar named Li Wei lived. Li Wei loved his hometown. It had grand architecture, massive city walls, and an ornate bell tower at its heart. It was a city deeply entrenched in the exchange of goods, ideas, and cultures. As a young scholar, fascinated by foreign lands, Li Wei spent countless hours roaming the lively markets and libraries of Xi'an, soaking in the tales of distant places brought back by weary traders. Li Wei's modest home was filled with maps and manuscripts, remnants of his studies and his dreams. The walls were lined with scrolls that depicted fantastical creatures and landscapes said to exist along the Silk Road. His desk was cluttered with various texts, both borrowed and owned, concerning the history and geography of the regions beyond the Tang dynasty's reach. Each night, by the light of a flickering oil lamp, he traced the routes on his maps with a thin, ink-stained finger, imagining the bustling bazaars of Samarkand and the formidable gates of Byzantium. The recent death of his mentor, Master Zhu, a seasoned trader who had traveled as far as the Mediterranean, had left Li Wei with a deep sense of purpose. Master Zhu, before his death, had bequeathed to Li Wei a leather-bound journal filled with sketches and notes from his journeys. This journal was more than a collection of observations. It was a portal to the world, and Li Wei treated it with reverence, deep reverence. Each page turn was a step along the Silk Road, each ink blot a landmark. As spring eventually arrived, with its gentle warmth and the promise of new beginnings, Li Wei felt the pull of the road more strongly than ever. The decision to leave Xi'an and follow the Silk Road westward crystallized during these long spring days in 1275. He began to prepare in earnest, gathering necessary supplies, durable clothing, writing materials to document his journey, and trade goods like silk and tea, which could be bartered for lodging and food. He also studied the practical arts of navigation and survival, skills that his scholarly life had previously left untouched. Li Wei's journey along the Silk Road was expected to span several years, with the ultimate destination being the far reaches of the Mediterranean, where the road met the sea. The weight of his impending departure hung over him as he visited his favorite spots in the city for what he felt might be the last time. He took leisurely strolls along the imposing city wall, gazing out at the countryside that stretched, fertile and vast, beyond Xi'an. He visited the bustling markets, not just as a spectator this time, but as a student, observing the traders with a keen eye, learning how they bartered, noting what goods seemed most valuable, and listening to stories of the road's dangers and wonders. These experiences deepened his resolve and enriched his preparations with practical knowledge and a budding sense of adventure. Li Wei's decision to journey along the Silk Road was fueled not only by a thirst for adventure and knowledge, but also by a need to complete a task left unfinished by his mentor, Master Zhu. Master Zhu had begun a comprehensive writing on the Silk Road, aiming to detail its geography, cultures, and the exchanges that defined its history. His unexpected passing left the manuscript incomplete, and so Li Wei had inherited both the manuscript and his mentor's fervent wish. He vowed to finish the work and document the lifeblood of the route as a tribute and scholarly contribution. As he prepared, Li Wei spent long hours poring over Master Zhu's notes, absorbing his observations and insights. The margins of the journal were dense with commentary, and sketches of people and places leapt from the pages. Li Wei envisioned himself not just as a traveler, but as a chronicler whose writings would bridge the divide between distant lands and his own scholarly community in Xi'an. He planned to meticulously record everything, from the different architectural styles to the diverse customs and ceremonies of the people he would encounter. But within Li Wei, there was also an internal struggle. The comfort and predictability of his life in Xi'an conflicted with the unpredictable nature of the road. He had always been more at home among scrolls and quiet contemplation than in the bustling chaos of marketplaces and caravans. The thought of venturing into unknown territories stirred a mix of trepidation and excitement within him. This journey would require him to step beyond the scholarly detachment with which he had approached his studies and engage with the world in a more visceral way. To prepare himself mentally and spiritually, Li Wei sought the counsel of an elderly monk who resided at the small Wild Goose Pagoda, a serene temple a short distance from the city center. As the two sat in the beautiful gardens, surrounded by the beauty of nature, the monk listened quietly to Li Wei's fears and aspirations, nodding thoughtfully before offering his advice. To learn of the world, you must first learn about yourself. The road will test you, not just intellectually, but in spirit. Let each step on your path be one of discovery, and let curiosity, not fear, guide you. Armed with this wisdom, Li Wei felt a subtle shift within himself. The road would indeed be his teacher, and he, its diligent student, open to whatever lessons it might hold. He was no longer simply following in the footsteps of his mentor. He was stepping into his own story, one that he would write with each mile traveled. Li Wei's departure from Xi'an was marked by a blend of solemnity and spectacle. As he walked beneath the towering city gate, he stopped for a moment and felt the early morning sun shine upon his face. He closed his eyes and breathed in this moment deeply. In and out. The sun cast long shadows on the cobblestone road ahead. He carried with him the essentials for his journey: Master Zhu's journal, his own writing tools, provisions, and a heart full of mixed emotions. The road before him stretched invitingly, winding its way through the lush, verdant outskirts of the city. The scent of fresh earth and blooming flowers filled the air, a stark contrast to the scholarly mustiness of his study. Diary entry: March 5th, 1275, Xi'an, China. Today, I prepare to leave the only world I have known. My bags are packed, not just with necessities, but also with countless scrolls and Master Zhu's precious journal. The thought of stepping beyond the familiarity of Xi'an's towering walls fills me with a blend of excitement and fear. Yet, I am driven by a purpose greater than my apprehensions, to complete the work my mentor could not finish, and to discover the vast unknown that lies along the Silk Road. The first leg of his journey took him through the fertile plains surrounding Xi'an, where farmers tended to their crops with the ancient diligence of generations. Li Wei, used to the urban cacophony of marketplace haggling and scholarly debates, found the rhythmic, quiet labor of the fields mesmerizing. The vastness of the open land, with its horizon stretching far beyond the confines of city walls, instilled in him a sense of freedom that he had never known. He paused often, sketching the scenery in quick, deft strokes, scenes he planned to detail later in his writings. As he ventured further, Li Wei encountered fellow travelers and caravans, all threading their way along the Silk Road. Each group he met was a microcosm of cultures. He shared meals with merchants from Central Asia, whose stories of the steppes ignited his imagination with visions of endless grasslands under starlit skies. From them, Li Wei learned the basics of the trade dialects and customs, knowledge that would prove valuable as he moved westward. Approaching the edge of the Gansu province, Li Wei first beheld the majesty of the Yellow River. The sight of its vast, rolling waters, bordered by lush banks and dotted with busy boats, struck him with awe. He spent several days following the river's course, captivated by its might and beauty. The way the water caught the light of the setting sun, turning it into a liquid gold and amber. It was a sight he painstakingly captured in both sketch and prose, determined to convey its splendor in his writings. As the landscape changed around him, so too did Li Wei's internal landscape. With each new sight and encounter, his initial apprehensions gave way to a deep curiosity and a budding sense of belonging to the world beyond the academic. The physical act of traveling, the constant exposure to new sights, sounds and smells, and the nightly reflections by campfire light all worked to slowly transform the scholar into a traveler in his own right. Diary entry, June 20th, 1275, Dunhuang, China. The desert meets the edge of this bustling town, where caravans pause before venturing into the vast nothingness of sand. Here, I have encountered traders from every corner of Asia, each carrying stories as diverse as the goods they bear. My evenings are spent documenting these tales and the ingenious methods of survival that these seasoned travelers share. The Silk Road is not just a path of commerce. It is a lifeline of shared knowledge and mutual human dependence. Several weeks into his journey, Li Wei found himself in the ancient region of Sogdiana, known today as part of Uzbekistan. The caravan that he was traveling with briefly had pitched their tents near the city of Samarkand, a nexus of culture and commerce on the Silk Road. As the sun dipped below the horizon, Li Wei and a Sogdian elder named Arman sat around a small, crackling fire together. The air was cool, and the heavens above were a clear, deep blue, soon to reveal a brilliant canvas of stars. Arman, with a face as weathered as the mountain paths and eyes twinkling with wisdom, began to share stories of the stars above them, how his people saw the constellations as guides, not just through the desert, but through life itself. And as the night deepened, they spoke of the great bear, the dragon, and the mythic tales around them. These stars have watched over countless souls who've traveled this road before you, Arman said. They are the silent keepers of our stories and the silent guides to our paths. Li Wei, deeply moved by the tranquility of the scene and the depth of the conversation, felt a connection to the road and its history, that went beyond his scholarly interests. He realized in that moment that the Silk Road was much more than a route for trade and cultural exchange. It was something much deeper, a pathway shared by many generations before them, each generation adding their own story to the collective journey of humanity. He was also becoming more and more moved by the fact that he was seeing different types of faces, different types of people. He had never left his area before in his life, and sharing these moments with other humans was helping him see how similar we really all are. You are both a witness and a creator of history, our man concluded, and handed Li Wei a small, carved stone as a keepsake. Carry it with respect and let it guide you as the stars guide us. As they retired to their respective tents, Li Wei was contemplating the immensity of the road ahead and the stories he would tell. Diary entry: September 14th, 1275, Samarkand, Sogdiana. In the heart of Sogdiana, under the stars tonight, I have come to understand the depth of this journey. Tonight, an elder named Arman spoke of the constellations as guides through life's trials. His words resonate deeply with me, reminding me that this journey is as much inward as it is outward. We also spoke about how so many generations have walked this ancient trade route, bringing goods from east to west. And yes, it does serve a practical purpose, but it also is a deeply human experience. As a human who has not moved much in his life, I have to say it feels good to move, to be on the go. It feels like it's what I'm meant to do. Maybe we are supposed to move, us humans. Some time passed, and Li Wei moved further west. He entered the rugged terrains of Persia, a dramatic landscape shift from the lush valleys of Central Asia. Here, the stark beauty of the desert, with its undulating sand dunes and rocky outcrops, presented a new world to him. The air was dry, carrying scents of sage and myrrh, which mingled with the cool night breezes. and during the day, the sun painted the sands in golds and reds, a sight so vivid that Li Wei often paused in his travels to sketch the scenery in great detail. February 10th, 1276, Persia. The landscapes here are very dramatic, like nothing I've ever seen. The people are warm and have rich traditions. They offer hospitality and offer a sense of belonging to me that I had not anticipated. My diary pages are filling with observations on their culture, so different and yet so similar to my own. There are so many things that connect us, and yet I feel like I'm in another world. Each entry is a tribute to Master Zhu's vision. I will continue his work and my own. And he did. Li Wei paid homage to Master Zhu's vision by detailing not only the physical landscapes, but also the human interactions on this ancient route. The oldest in the world, they say. He wrote of conversations with craftsmen and traders, recording their stories and histories of their goods, from spices to porcelain. This was the essence of his mentor's unfinished work, to capture the spirit of the Silk Road, celebrating its role in shaping the cultural fabric of diverse regions. Many months passed by, and Li Wei got closer and closer to his destination. He crossed through the Byzantine Empire. The terrain softened into rolling hills and lush vineyards, a stark contrast to the arid deserts of Persia. The air grew moist and salty with the proximity of the sea, mingling with the fragrances of olive groves and citrus orchards. This fertile land was dotted with bustling ports and vibrant cities, each one a melting pot of Eastern and Western cultures coalescing along the Silk Road. Diary entry: January 5th, 1277, Byzantium. I reached the great city of Byzantium today, where east meets west, in a vibrant confluence of cultures and history. The grandeur of its architecture and the diversity of its people show just how influential this Silk Road is. My days are spent exploring its streets, filled with a dozen languages, and my nights are dedicated to translating these experiences onto paper. Here, in this ancient city Byzantium, or modern-day Istanbul, the architecture took on a grandeur, with Roman influences visible in the aqueducts, amphitheaters, and paved roads that crisscrossed this landscape. Li Wei was fascinated by the public squares and marketplaces, where people from all over the known world gathered, speaking a babel of languages and conducting trade with a lively clamor. As he got closer to the Mediterranean, he was journaling all the time, writing, "The road teaches more than the sum of its miles. It unveils the soul of the traveler, just as it reveals the soul of the world." He wrote of the joy found in shared laughter with a Greek merchant over a simple meal of olives and bread, and the profound peace encountered in the silent nod of understanding from a fellow traveler. And it wasn't long before he stood in front of a vast azure sea, the Mediterranean. Li Wei stood on the shore, a scholar no longer confined to the walls of his city or the pages of his books, but a citizen of the world. His journey along the Silk Road had not only fulfilled his mission to honor Master Zhu's legacy, but it also awakened him to a life richer in experience and understanding. As he sat on the warm, soft sands next to the ancient city of Antioch, he gazed out at the vast expanse of blue that stretched endlessly before him. The gentle lapping of the waves on the shore soothed his soul, and as the sun dipped towards the horizon, Li Wei felt a profound sense of completion and peace. Diary entry, March 27th, 1278. Tonight, I stand at the edge of the Mediterranean Sea, the end point of the Silk Road, and the beginning of another chapter. The vast blue stretches before me, both a barrier and a path to new worlds. Here, I have witnessed the culmination of my journey, not just in miles traveled, but in the profound transformation within myself. From a scholar sheltered within the walls of Xi'an, I have emerged a man of the world, versed in the languages of both trade and human connection. Li Wei thought of home, of the cherry blossoms that would be blooming along the avenues of Xi'an, and of his family who awaited his return. The distance seemed immense, yet he knew that one day he would go back. And in a way, in his mind, the knowledge that the world was indeed smaller than he thought before comforted him. He contemplated the manuscript, now thick with descriptions and drawings. It was no longer just Master Zhu's legacy. It was his own legacy too, a bridge between the East and the West, between past and present. Li Wei packed away his journal, his companion through so many miles, and stood to face the sea one last time. He had learned that every ending was a prelude to a new beginning. The horizon before him was an open promise, much like the road that had brought him here. And as he prepared to return to Xi'an, he felt a surge of gratitude for all that the road had taught him. The boy who had once watched the Silk Road from the high city walls was now a man, forged in the vastness of the journey, ready to bring back his enriched understanding to the land where it all began for him. As the stars began to twinkle in the twilight sky, Li Wei felt aligned with the world around him, a harmony between the man he was and the path he had traveled. The Silk Road had been his teacher, and he, its diligent student, forever changed, forever grateful.